What's up, former party people? This is Jerry, you know, the one who actually combs his hair on the A is for Alcoholic podcast. Now, if you're finding value in listening to the AIFA podcast every week and you want to support sharing it with others, we invite you to become a sustaining monthly or per show contributor. Go to patreon.com/AIFA. It's super easy and it only takes a quick moment. It's about as easy as buying one of those pre-cooked space chickens from the grocery store, taking it outside, giving it a big old kiss, and kicking it into traffic. Why would you do that? Anyway, you do you, and I'll do me. Again, go to patreon.com/AIFA. And with that, people, let's start the show.
A is for Alcoholic is a program about recovery. My name is John, and I'm an alcoholic.
And my name is Jerry, and I'm an alcoholic.
Join us as we go through the alphabet of alcoholism, one letter at a time. Here we are again, Jerry.
Woo!
Welcome back to the A's for Alcoholic podcast. We're going to have another conversation coming out with this guy that I spoke to. His name is Dimitri Fuchs. He was the one who did all the burpees for everybody last year. I don't know if you were following this guy.
He did burpees for me because you linked them on my thing, and I was like, damn, that dude's doing 50 burpees. That's fucking cool. Thank you for the burpees.
Yeah, so I had a conversation with him the other day that I'll be putting out probably next week. And
that dude's in shape, dude. He's in shape. You try to do 50 burpees? I try to do 10, and I'm rocked. No thank you. Yeah.
What we talked about, which was really cool, was one of the aspects I think of recovery that gets pushed to the back burner is your physical recovery. You know, because so much of, for me, recovery from alcoholism is, they talk about it being a spiritual malady, and it's mental, and it's emotional, and it's trying to get your life together, and so, whatever it takes to not drink, and oftentimes that takes fucking donuts and hard candy and Coca-Cola, and
right.
So he does physical therapy, but he also does it in recovery centers is his big thing. So he goes to recovery centers and talks to people about, getting their bodies back into shape. And there was another thing, he's down in LA, and there's this thing called the Phoenix, where basically if you sign a waiver saying that you have 48 hours of uninterrupted sobriety, you can use the gyms there for free depending on where the Phoenix is. This I don't know what exactly it is, but I'll link it all in there in the description.
Yeah.
But it was pretty cool. So it was really cool to talk to him. And he was the one who, I think last week, we were talking about the Booyah tribe. And he's like, hey, I heard that, man. And he knew exactly what the Booyah tribe, or he looked it up on Wikipedia, what it stood for. And
what does it stand for?
I don't remember.
Oh,
you have to listen to the episode.
You have to listen, yeah. Or just use Wikipedia, I guess.
Or just use Wikipedia. But he was stoked. He's like, man, 90s hip-hop saved my life.
Yeah, dude. Yeah. I never liked West Coast gangster rap, though. I think I've said that before. I always liked, Onyx or Mobb Deep or, Notorious B.I.G. I didn't like the West Coast sound. I still kind of don't. Yeah, I do a little bit.
I was listening to some Naughty by Nature today.
What is that? Aren't they from, Ohio?
I thought they were from New York. I don't know. But
they might be. I don't know. Somebody out there is like, yo, they're from Poughkeepsie.
The beats were really good to run to, so you kind of
there you go, because you're a running man now,
dude.
Running.
I did. Did I tell you I did 10 miles today?
I saw it on your Instagram. That's how you and I keep in touch now in 2019. Congratulations, that's a lot. I sprinted. Not to one up you. I'm just trying to relate. Because 10 miles is. I walked and ran 4 on Sunday, and then it was Sunday, and then that was yesterday, and then I sprinted for the first time in about 20 years, and I sprinted a good 25, 50 yards, at a dead run. At one point I was running so fast I was scared I was gonna fall down. My momentum was really screwing. Yeah, you ever just sprint, or do you just run?
There's a couple of spots where I really like to sprint, where I get this it's a little bit of a downslope that kind of then dips back up, so I get the speed, and then I try to go as far as I can on the up slope.
Do you ever get scared? Oh shit,
yes,
I'm gonna fall on my fucking face.
I'm 42, and I still have some extra weight. I'm holding on to. I'm just afraid I'm gonna like lean over and smash my face.
Well, I liked it. I'm gonna do it again. I was listening to this song by Beck, his new song. It's called "Saw Lightning." Have you heard that song?
No.
Put it on your mix. It's a fucking great song to run to.
Okay.
It'll make you want to run, dude. It's yeah. So this is A is for running talk.
A is for running talk. So I want to really quick go through our sponsors. The Green Camel Press they're a design firm. I am part of that, but they are a design firm with an analog aesthetic in a digital age, an old school aesthetic in a digital age. Yeah. So go to greencamelpress.com, get yourself a comfy, delightful t-shirt. It looks
got
good
it on right now. Yeah, I look like an orderly in a hospital.
It's beautiful candy apple green.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we do greeting cards, we do digital doodles, we do labels, all kinds of cool stuff. So go check out greencamelpress.com. Also, our other 2 podcasts in the network. The first one is Gluten is Not Your Problem with me and my friend Walter, and we talk about Walter's strange life in the restaurant biz and his odd childhood. This week we talk about, restaurant service. We talk about pineapple on pizza. Yeah. I made him try a golden berry.
I don't know what that is.
I didn't know either. I just picked him up at the store. He's like, this is not a real thing, and he was not excited about the golden berry.
You gotta have him try those cotton candy grapes.
I want to find those too.
Yeah, they're good.
And then we talk about the new Elton John movie.
Oh, I gotta start listening to these, man.
I mean, you don't gotta. I mean,
I'm also known him for over 20 years, so I've heard most of this. Some of it I haven't heard though.
Right?
Some of it is I'm very curious.
And then, lastly, the other podcast, Rashida and John, which is myself and my girlfriend, and this week we talked about our food choices, past and present, how we used to eat. Oh. Including, M&Ms and Krispy Kremes, and how we eat now, which is none of those things. Yeah. But so that one's called He's Fed, She's Fed. Get it?
Yeah. Jesus Christ. I like that both of your podcasts. It's all about taking stuff into your body. There's one about being an alcoholic, one about your friend who's a cook, and then the other one's about donuts. And
yeah, it's true. So go check all that stuff out, please, and thank you guys, everybody on our Patreon page. We're going to be putting out another movie review as well.
We were supposed to do that today.
That's okay. Jerry had he was busy. Jerry's a busy man. He was putting together
It's sweet 10-foot by 2-foot deep Inetex inflatable ring pool in the backyard.
And there
was a hole in it.
Yeah.
You gotta sell me a pool with a hole in it. Now I had to send Megan to take it back. Well, she offered it up. I think she was like, dang, I gotta get out of this house. Jerry's grouchy. I'm just gonna leave Olive here. She's running out the door good luck. Have fun. Bye.
Mm-hmm. How was your Father's Day?
It was pretty good. I went over to a really, really close friend of mine's house, and her husband did a crab boil.
Nice.
Yeah. So there was king crab legs in there, shrimp, mussels, clams. It was good. All the seafood. Seafood tears my gut up, I guess, but that's all right.
That's tasty.
Tears my gut up is a nice way of saying it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, that's good. Right on.
Yeah. I went swimming.
Oh, they have a pool. You'll have a pool tomorrow.
They have an above ground pool. Theirs is a deep above ground pool. Mine's a little wading pool for Olive and the dog. They're just
to kind of hang out when it's hot and
make soup in there. Yeah, it'll be nice. Dog soup. Yeah,
do you put
he'll
little
jump right
chlorine
in.
droplets or anything in there?
I'm supposed to pour a half a cup of bleach in it once a day.
Jesus.
Yeah, and then just mix it with a canoe oar or something. I guess like a
do you
a
have
cauldron.
A canoe oar?
Actually I do, but no canoe. Isn't that weird? I have a kayak oar. I have a couple of them. I might have thrown them away. They're probably in that garage. I have a lot of strange things.
All right. Well, you live in Oregon. You might need a canoe oar.
You never know, man. Just home defense. Who knows?
So Jerry, it's X, and X is always a hard letter to come
Right.
up with something. It's not the most compatible letter. So
Right.
you suggested, well, I sent you this article, and there was an article in the New York the New York Times called "The New Sobriety,"
Right.
and it was a an article that was how do I best describe it? Talking about the new trend of sobriety. There's lots of like talking about mocktails and people who are. One of the lines was something to the effect of, it was like, everyone's sober now, even if ... they drink a little. And
Yeah, dude.
that's how it began. And so Jerry read the article, or most of it, and I said, "Hey, what do you think about this?" And this is before we picked anything. And he said, your quote was, exactly what is so trendy about fucking up my family's life. And I thought that that's a good name for the episode, and we might talk about this article. So a couple other things in the article. They talk about quote-unquote mindful drinking and being sober curious. And I don't know.
Yeah.
Do you want to give me your thoughts?
Well, I got it now because I signed in for a free account.
Okay.
With my Google account, so now I got it. But what were you going to ask me? I just wanted to let you know that I am in line with you in this article about these people.
So, I mean, you should definitely go check out the article and see what you think. But there was a lot of these things where they were talking about people who were starting it was a brand ambassador for something, or they were a branding consultant, and how they were tired of having to go get drinks after work. And so there's different things like $15 artisanal mocktails, alcohol-free nights at bars, and things like this. And it didn't really jive with you.
There was this thing, you know what? It just, I wrote you all this stuff. Mm-hmm. And I was like already irritable because I was at work, and I was like, these motherfuckers right here, really? But I mean, honestly, at the end of the day, like, I don't gatekeep sobriety. I'm not the gatekeeper of recovery or sobriety, or even someone's definition of sobriety. I don't gatekeep that. I have my own version of it that I use and I do, but I feel like sober curious, like that, it like really raised my hackles, man. It like bothered me. Like reading through it pissed me off because I was like, I guess what I felt like was they were finding a marketable way to exploit this thing that's very personal to me, I guess. Mm-hmm. But how could it be? I mean, because I guess I'm injecting my own experience into it, because there's people out there who are like, hey, I may have a problem, but I still want to go out and have a good time. And I guess the semblance of pretending to drink will make me have a good time, right? Because I'm not one to dog anybody for drinking NA beer. Like, I don't care about that. I don't drink NA beer because to me it's like swimming with a raincoat on. It just doesn't make sense. Like, I'm not drinking beer for the taste. Beer tastes awful. Beer, I used to even say when I drank, I was like, beer's not drinking. That's not really drinking. There's like hardly any alcohol. It's like the suggestion of alcohol in a Bud Light.
And Heineken just put one out that's 0.0. It's got no alcohol whatsoever in
it. So to me, beer was like, that's a lot of work.
You mentioned this to me too, where you said it sounds like a, and I don't want to misquote you here, but it sounds like a bunch of normies who were trying to sort of appropriate this idea of sobriety without any of the...
Yeah, it reads like normies selling an affectation to young hip people who aren't alcoholics, right?
Right.
But then again, that's also me like gatekeeping what is the definition of alcoholism. I mean, I believe there is alcoholics and non-alcoholics. I believe there are people who aren't alcoholics who drink alcoholically. Do you know what I mean? I mean, you could not have... Do you dig what I'm saying? Like, you could binge drink really hard and then just be without it. It's just like people I knew... Like, you were similar to one of those types of people who smoked, right?
Yeah.
Like you could smoke all weekend and then not smoke for 5 months. Do you know what I mean? It's like...
I did that I mean, near the end it was not as easy, but yes, there was a period where I would just pick it up and put it down.
Yes. And so for me, I felt like that whole sober curious mindset, and even the sober curious where the people are talking about throwing these sobriety parties for people, but then the woman's like, well, I have a glass of wine every once in a while at dinner. To me, it feels like that controlled drinking, that trying to drink in moderation, right? So
it feels a little disingenuous.
Disingenuous, thank you, that's the right word, because what I'm trying to do is explain this carefully without talking shit. Do you know what I mean? Because
I understand.
The Jerry in me wants to talk shit like hella bad, but I also know that also is not beneficial to me as a person, because then I'm just building resentments and being like, what the fuck, you know? And I also really turns me off when other people gatekeep things. When they tell you, oh, well, you can't be this because you haven't done this, or this. Like, that's one of my biggest resentments, I think, with other people, is when they tell me that I'm not whatever. Like, I'm a Star Wars fan because I don't know Boba Fett's cousin or some shit. I don't know. Do you know what I'm saying? And I'm like, I liked him when I was a kid, so that makes me a fan. But I guess... So I would hate to be the dude telling you, hey, you're not an alcoholic because you didn't fucking cry in a field, you know, at 3 a.m. or whatever it was I went through personally. You know?
You don't want to be saying, you don't deserve this because it's just a gimmick to you and it's a trend. And I think I feel, yeah, I feel I understand, especially like the marketing aspect of it. Seems a little like, here's somebody who calls themselves a branding consultant who's working to do, and I got no problem, man. If you want to get into some Kundalini Disco or whatever they were talking about,
I'm just reading that right now. Yeah,
like that's cool. Like that's fine. I don't think that I would want to go to some Kundalini Disco, but I might. I don't know. But the idea that you say, well, I'm mostly sober and I'm promoting this sort of healthy lifestyle, and I think it's very hard for me to take that seriously, and especially whenever anybody is trying to sell something to me, I'm always skeptical, right?
Right. Yes.
Nobody sold me on sobriety. I had to go seek it out and get it for myself. It wasn't a thing.
You weren't like, yo, I got to get sober next week so I can go do some Kundalini Disco and fucking go do the roulette of meat or whatever it is they're doing. Or do you know what I mean? I got to go to the deep eye gazing ceremony. So I got to quit drinking. I don't even have to quit drinking. I just have to drink 1 glass of wine a week and I'm good. It sounds like mad desperate. I don't know. It just sounds like hell. Even the sober curious thing, like, I know they have a podcast or whatever, and I'm just curious about what the definition of that is, because when I was near the end of my active alcoholism, my active drinking, I was literally sober curious. I was like, like, I wonder what they're doing with that. Do you know what I mean? I wonder how that works. And I'm looking at it and I'm floating around the idea of it. I mean, that's what I think of when I think of the word sober curious. I don't think of like, oh, we party without drinking every once in a while. Do you know what I mean? Like, kudos, dude. You do what lots of people do. You party without drinking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But also I think that, and correct me if I'm wrong.
Go ahead.
But your definition also includes, and the frustration that you see in, you know, trying to throw a sober party for young, cool, whatever, is that you were trying to fix your life and trying to fix your family, and this was really serious and potentially, if not, you know, immediately devastating stuff.
Right.
And when you called me and I was still drinking, we were both still drinking I remember this conversation and you saying, my wife's going to leave me if I don't quit drinking. What should I do? And I was like,
right.
I don't know. You can try it. And I think my advice was, you can try it. You can always go back. It's not like you can't, you know, keep doing it.
Right.
And that was I remember that conversation. I think that was shortly thereafter. Not that I was necessarily the impetus that you had gotten sober.
I don't even remember calling you, dude.
Yeah.
I don't. Yeah. I don't recall that at all. I mean, maybe if I dig, I probably do. It's probably back there in a hard drive somewhere, but this hard drive's had some salt water poured in it, you know?
Yes, I do. Yeah,
absolutely. You know, yeah.
Mine as well. So, yeah. And I wonder if, again, I'm not trying to psychoanalyze you here or anything like that.
No.
I'm really not. But I wonder if there's a little bit of that, like, if you had been 21 or 22 and there had been some option to go to something that was sober-ish. But again, you were, I mean, I think that I'm in the same boat as you, is that I'm an alcoholic and I wanted to drink as heavy as I could.
Right.
I wasn't looking to find some other fun new way. I had found the way that was the best thing in the world to me.
Well, I mean, you got this guy. There's this one guy out of Austin, Texas. They say in the article his name is Chris Marshall, and he's a substance abuse counselor. And apparently, he does 12 steps. He's a 12-stepper, and he does this event called the Sands Bar, and they do like sober, glow in the dark disco karaoke and 90s rock sing-alongs. And to me, that sounds like basically like the sober dances I would go to. Do you know what I mean? Or the sober events that the younger people will do. And listen, man, if this is a gateway to someone improving their life, I support it 100%. Like that's that. At the end of the day, I may get my hackles raised up as a grouchy 44-year-old man who wants to think of my alcoholism as the bad thing that I shall never return to again. Do you know what I mean? And like, this is the thing that absolutely ruined my life. When honestly, I should be looking at it like this is the thing that absolutely changed my life and improved my life. Do you know what I mean? Like, I literally can think about it like this fucked everything up, because it did. But also that thing, like, not doing that thing anymore made everything like way better. So I'm grateful to it. Other than that, now I'm throwing down the G word. But if going to one of these glow in the dark disco events and you're like some 22-year-old kid who does drink too much and is at the beginning, or even if you've been drinking since you were 11, and you're just fucking everything up, and you're like, oh shit, this gives you a change of perspective, and you're like, wow, dude, you can do this shit sober? You know what I mean? Like, if that's I like the impetus. If that's the impetus, if that's what causes that catalyst in your life, I say, fuck yeah, 100% I support it. Absolutely. Even if you're like, oh, I only drink one glass of wine a week, and that glass of wine is 2 bottles big. Do you know what I mean? Or 4 bottles or whatever.
Yes, I do.
And you go to this party, and then you're like, well, these people are feeling good and they don't need to get all fucked up. Like, we don't have to get, then that's great. Like, I support it. I just have to shake my fist at it and grouch about it. Like, Abe Simpson, like.
I just can't imagine being in a situation for me, like that idea of either, well, I'm only going to have 1 glass of wine a month, or, well, I just kind of have to quit drinking because I can't really, I got to have some energy in the morning. It's not just like oh, well, I'm just kind of low energy when I've been drinking the night before. Or, you know what I mean? Like, it's, for me, it was all or nothing. And I never got the opportunity to be curious about it. I was thinking about this earlier today too. In all the time that I was drinking, in the worst possible moments, in the most painful moments, emotionally, physically, spiritually, whatever, it never occurred to me that there was an option. Like, I always thought, I was thinking about that. Like, I didn't think, again, I remember being, like, drinking Everclear and Wormwood, this, like, homemade fucking absinthe, right?
I had some of that. It was bad.
Oh, shit. I drank it all night long with those guys.
Yeah.
Because, I was tough. In the darkest moments, like the next day, like being on the floor in the living room, I couldn't hold down water or crackers. Like, I would puke it right up.
God damn. Yeah.
With nothing to watch on TV, nothing to like numb the pain. I think we were all out of everything. Like, I had nothing. I couldn't move. And it was like one of the most painful days that I can remember of my life. It never occurred to me that I would stop drinking because that was the thing that was poisoning me.
Right.
It
was. Did the absinthe make you a better writer?
No, it did not.
Did you see the Green Fairy and have mystical visions?
No, there was. I don't think I got any writing done.
Absinthe is straight up bullshit. So yes, that I will say. But
all ahead. I had was a VHS copy of Bring It On that I tried to watch, and it made it even worse.
Oh, it wasn't the what was that one you used to make us Double Dare?
Double Dare, the Double Dare party.
Yeah, you made me watch that.
All those weird thrift store finds. But yeah, so I understand where you're coming from as far as this trendy thing and it being cool and hip and trendy, and not feeling real.
Right.
And I'm with you because I'm the same age.
Yes.
And if I'm trying to think that if I was 21 or 22 or like 16 or even 27 or 32, if I was a different person, would I be even interested? And I really, my belief is that this thing called alcoholism lives inside of me, and
right.
I am not able to make those choices on my own.
Right.
And so when I see this, I think that I'm grateful that there's more different things going on than just drinking in bars.
Right.
But I think that if it were given to me, as it would seem like false hope to me.
Yeah.
That there was something I could do otherwise, or it wouldn't be seen as cool, or it would be kind of goofy and stupid, or I don't want to just drink fruit juice, I want to get fucked up. But it would seem like false hope to me.
Right.
And I wouldn't want to spread that, but I can't speak for anybody else except
right,
me.
exactly. That's why it's hard for me to say, Also, the fruit juice has nootropics in it, so,
Yeah, I saw that too.
Nootropics. It's got a lot of ginseng, a lot of St. John's wort.
Is nootropics the thing that
I'm just Joe Rogan's always selling them.
Right.
Yeah, I was trying to be funny. It occurs to me though that when you said it's your age, you had referred to how old you are. It makes a lot of sense to me though in thinking of it in hindsight, and like my perspective can change on it, and I can look at it differently as in regards to the way we approach recovery as two men our age. Compared to the way a like Generation Y or Z would. I guess Z's too young, but the Y kids, like the kids in their 20s right now, the way they would approach recovery, because everything changes, right? I mean, even
evolves.
the way you and I approach 12-step, I would say is not conventionally the same as like my dad approached the 12-step program. You know what I mean? I know for sure the way I approach it is very different than the way my father approaches it. And I also see a lot of, since we have these resources with the internet and everything now, that your last bastion necessarily isn't going into the rooms. You know what I mean? Going into the church basement with the styrofoam cup and saying you're powerless, which I have no problem with because I'm powerless over lots of things. So, do you know what I'm saying? I don't want to go down that digression, but that was always something that stuck in my craw too, is when people are like, well, I'm not powerless. And I'm like, yeah, you are, dude. You just don't realize it. Like cancer, powerless cancer, those cells decide to change. You can't do anything.
Yeah.
But anyway, regardless of that. So maybe their form of recovery, I would imagine their form of recovery is different. Being addicted to a substance and trying to find a way to deal with being addicted to this substance, emotionally and physically, or even just flirting with it, or, getting sober, flirting with recovery, that there is an alternative to what you're doing, and it's Kundalini Disco. I don't know what the fuck that means, but it's
don't know either.
Sounds interesting.
I think that's the name of the new Arcade Fire album. I don't know.
Kundalini Disco, right? Yeah.
I just know that the 12-step, the secret society, if you will, works for me, and it works for me.
The right-hand path.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And even when I went to the Refuge Recovery meeting, and they were very explicit to say, this is only an adjunct to what you already do. This is not to replace your program.
Right.
We are not here. And so I just know because it works, because I'm happy, and I wasn't always happy. I'm happy today, and because structure works for me. And when I take a real honest, real honest self-reflection, when I go inside myself, not in like a gross way, but it's
always gross.
Do you know what I mean? Like, I know
Mm-hmm.
that I need that structure, and I
absolutely
I require. That's what I was that's what I was lacking and longing for.
Word.
So I don't think for me it's just a lack of options of things to do, because there was always things that I could have done otherwise. There's plenty of things that I have found today. I went to a magic show about gratitude, Jerry.
Yeah, I know. When you said it's about
Francisco.
gratitude too, I'm like, were you at a recovery magic show? He was just like making, here's 2 airplane bottles of whiskey, and then I make them disappear. You know,
make my resentments disappear, please. Make my
just
character
like these
defects.
just like these tiny bottles of Smirnoff. Boom. You know.
Yeah. So I'm skeptical, but that's just me. You know, like I am one person. It's skeptical for me.
Same here. I think we're in agreement with that. We're both like, I don't know,
because I'm also hesitant to pass any judgment on anybody. Like that Sands bar thing, that seems pretty cool. Like that guy seems like okay, I want a social setting for people who don't drink, and I don't see one, so I'm going to make it.
Right.
You know, I'm going to create it.
As opposed to, well, we're going to use the word sober curious. I don't know if I want to keep... I've got to listen to this person's podcast before I keep hammering that point. But do you know what I mean? That where they just use the in moderation. Well, then if you're in moderation, you're not sober. You're just drinking in moderation. Do you know what I mean? In regards to the alcohol, you know?
Yeah.
In my definition to it. Yeah. Mm-hmm. You're drinking in moderation, you know? And if you can drink in moderation, well, then just don't drink.
if you have
Do you know
a problem,
what I'm saying? Yeah. If you don't have a problem though, and you're like, oh, I need to lose 10 pounds, or all these parties are about drinking, and you can drink in moderation, then don't fucking drink. It's that easy. You don't have to drink. You're just drinking. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, for me, if someone looked at me and said, don't fucking drink, I'd be like, you're fucking crazy. What do you mean don't drink? That's what I do. Do you know what I mean? But if I'm looking at like some moderate non-alcoholic drinker, and I'm like, tell you what, just don't drink this week, they'd be like, okay, cool, I won't. Do you know what I mean? Like,
and be fine with it. Yeah
whatever. So that's the way I look at it. And I hate being like, you're not allowed to reap the benefits of recovery. I mean, you absolutely are. Even if you're a normal ass drinker, don't drink, I bet your life gets way better.
That's the thing that I've found, and when I talk to people, and you know, when I was watching that movie today, don't worry, he won't get far on foot, about the cartoonist John Callahan. There was a montage where he's kind of thinking back, and they just show all the clips of him, you know, drinking and drinking and drinking, and what was hammered home, or what was presented there to me, was that this was the same thing was happening. It was always the alcohol was involved in every single bad decision. Yeah. And that was something that I really related to. And you know, we'll talk more about the movie during our review, but I feel like that was something that I finally woke up to, was that the alcohol was always the thing that was there when something bad happened. It was me and the alcohol. And so once I removed the alcohol from the scenario, from my life, every scenario that I would be in that would have the potential to be bad ended up being great, because I just made the other choice.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so I don't know. I would love to talk to somebody who was 22 and sober curious and not
right.
Because I think that I imagine, and again, it's hard for me to talk about somebody else's experience. I can't. But I imagine if there was some kind of that idea that there's a lack of options.
Right.
And
like mindful drinking. Like, what the fuck does mindful drinking mean?
I don't know.
Does that just mean a glass of like white wine with fish and that's it? I don't understand. Like, I feel old. Like, I feel like I don't understand it. Like, cause I don't.
Being intentional with your drinking, you know, I
guess, yeah.
It sounds to me like a conflict of interest, because in my recovery, the intentionality, drinking is the antithesis of intentionality. When drinking is put into my life, it's just everything is unintentional, everything is a reaction, and everything has a consequence. Instead of it being planned out, organized, you know? So I couldn't imagine drinking with intent, except that the only intent for me would be to drink as much as I can and try and not feel anything until I was dead or passed out.
I honestly think they're just buzzwords. They're like, and that's I think what bugged me too is I felt like it was just created as a marketing campaign. That these people, there's no disingenuous is such a great word for it. It keeps rolling through my head. I feel like almost like a bunch of marketers got together and they're like, we should be selling this recovery shit because people are getting sober because they're realizing it's fucking up their lives and it's an untapped market. Do you know what I mean? Like, all right, cool. Well, here's a rubber bracelet that says sober curious or mindful drinking on it. You know, bam, there you go. You know, like I don't mind the pages on Instagram that sell funny T-shirts and shit. Like I love that there are recovery memes on Instagram. I think they're great, man. That's like a great. I relate to a lot of them. You know, pardon, but I don't know, man. Just getting into it for the sake of like just selling nootropic blended fucking. Do you know what I mean? Like I don't know, man. I don't know. It just seems like they gotta fucking whore out everything in this culture.
It does.
Do they? I mean, we live in a and there's whatever capitalism is what it is, but really we gotta sell everything. Like we don't have to sell everything. Can I just? I don't need to bottle this shit. You know, like.
This would be a bad time to bring up the A's for alcoholic coffee mugs, wouldn't it?
God damn, John. You're part of the problem, man.
Yeah,
I'm the people's poet over here. I'm the proletariat, man. You're the machine, dude.
I feel like I found recovery because I wanted it, and everyone who helped me never asked me for anything, and that was the biggest. That was the most important part of it for me was that I could sit with people, and they didn't ask anything of me. And they were happy to give whatever they had. And the only time I felt bad about my recovery or felt bad about doing something or wasn't doing something right was when I was expecting something from someone. And then I was disappointed. Yeah. And when I didn't expect something and when I went into it with a full, with an open heart and an open mind, as my sponsor would always say, everything felt good about it. And so when I read this article and I hear buzzwords and like you said, and it's just it feels a little shitty, like I gotta punch into something, I gotta tap into something, I have to be a part of a movement or a culture or whatever, and because I can't be a part of that every single day. I mean, my recovery is my recovery, and I wholeheartedly embrace that, but I still got to go to work and live my life and do the things that I got to do. And I don't know. I don't want to say that I'm not proud, because I'm proud. I'm absolutely proud, 100%. Yeah, it's kind of a murky thing to just. I don't know how to.
You know what? It's a big fucking deal. It's a really big deal to get sober. For people like us to get sober, it's a big fucking deal. And that's why whenever I see anybody online or anybody I know and they're like, dude, I've been sober a week, I'm like, good, that's a big fucking deal. Like, you are throwing your car in reverse. Like, if your body is a car, like, you are literally throwing that shit in reverse because your body wants to keep making you go forward towards booze, towards things that make you not feel, towards getting fucked up, and you are literally mashing that gear backwards. And that's good. You should mash the fuck out of it. Maybe even break that machine, because that's what you need to do, right? It's a big deal. So you should be proud of it. And the coffee mugs they'll be like $28 a piece. I think on the bottom of the mug we're gonna get bottoms up printed on the bottom, so when you're taking a sip it just says bottoms up. Or yeah, maybe former party people or something. Yes. But look for those soon. They'll be out in our web store.
Vistaprint.
Vistaprint. Yeah, but it is a big deal, and we should be proud of it, and we should embrace it. And I express it constantly, like. If it comes up, I'll, there are weird moments, where I'm like with my daughter's friends' parents and they're like, you want a glass of wine? I'm like, no, I'm good. No, thanks. And then they're like, oh, why don't you drink? And I flat out, sometimes I'm like, well, I'm an alcoholic, so I don't drink, Sometimes if they pry me for it too much. If they don't, I'm just like, I don't drink. But I'm proud of it. And I think like it should be like you should be proud of it, and you should be able to. Yeah, it's America. You have your freedom to do whatever you want. You can go to one of these parties and drink the weird ginger mocktail or whatever it is. And I mean, it looks like there's even a battle within this culture where they're like, well, we don't call them mocktails. We call them, I don't know what the fuck they call them.
Zero proof or spirit free.
Spirit free or whatever. And that's fine, but you're making good juice. You know what I mean? You're making juice with some soda water. Hell yeah. I love that shit. But
I think also there was one part in the article where there was the woman who said, like, I'm such and such, and I don't like the label of alcoholic.
Right, and lots of people don't, and that's fine. That's cool.
Can I be honest with you, Jerry? I didn't like the label at first either.
I hated it so much I fucking tattooed it on myself so I wouldn't forget it, you know.
Did you?
Yeah, I have it tattooed on my leg backwards so I can see it in a mirror, you know, on my leg. I don't know why, on my thigh. I guess when I'm naked, I'm like, don't forget, you're drunk
squatting
forever.
Over the body length mirror.
But I didn't mind it, but when I talk to people in straight society who don't get, you know what I mean, who aren't in my circles, I am a little, I can be a little embarrassed of it sometimes. Or just not embarrassed, but just a little bit like, you know what, embarrassed is the wrong word. I don't want to bring the room down. You know, everybody's having a good time, and I don't want to be like, did I ever tell you about my crippling alcoholism? You know what I mean? Or let me tell you about the worst night I ever had. You know, like, so I try not to bring it up too much, but I'm proud of it. I don't know where I was going with it. Oh, the label. I don't mind the label. What's my dad say? They use long-term recovery now. You know, it's changing. The ideas, the culture around it is evolving. And like, even in my career as a tattooer, that's absolutely evolving. And I kind of have to flow with it or I get stuck behind and I'm resentful. So maybe me as dude, we've been sober, 4 and 5 years respectively, about almost give or take a couple weeks, you know, maybe I shouldn't jump the horse yet, but you know, like you've got 3 years, I've got 4 years. You know, we're still newly sober as well. It's not like you and I are old fucking roosters in this game or anything. No. It's just, but you know, it's still changing. It's almost like we're those Gen X guys who are always on the fucking verge of the thing changing, and we see it, but we're too old to get with it.
I'm always late to the party, Jerry.
Do you know what I'm saying? Yeah. Like, we roll up, like, in hammer pants and a fucking...
They're like, no, that's not cool.
And they're already in their... Yeah, they're like, actually, your hammer pants are wrong. They're all made out of jogging pants now. And I'm like, fuck! You don't like the silky ones? The silky ones aren't dope? Oh, we don't say dope. We say lit fam. We say... brrr, or whatever they do.
It's just another word for the same old shit.
Yeah.
It's still rock and roll to me.
Yeah. There's your dad shit right there, dude.
But I didn't like the label at first, and so I can relate to that. But it was the label and this sort of weird thing where you go, I am powerless over alcohol. When I said that, kind of gave me power to move forward and move on and move in a different direction, right?
Yes.
So this is sort of weird paradox of
it's fucking absolutely freeing, dude. It will free your ass, dude. And it freed my ass. I can't say it's freeing to you or anyone else, but it freed me. I love that you bring up the powerless thing because that's one of my biggest pet peeves is when people, especially non-drinkers, try to argue that with me. Like, what, you're saying you have no power? Like, you have willpower. Willpower is what's keeping you from drinking, right? So you have power. And I'm like, no, you don't get it, dude. Like, it's not like a magic of God comes down and taps me on the head and says, today you won't drink. Do you know what I mean? Like, but I'm also not firing off of willpower because it doesn't occur to me to drink. It seems like willpower you would have if it's occurring to you constantly to drink, you know?
You would have to fight against it. Willpower implies a struggle and a resistance.
I only fucking think about it when it's around. Like, when it's around me in my face. Do you know what I'm saying? But if I'm just sitting here watching TV or playing a video game, I'm not like, damn, I'm not drinking right now. Like, doesn't even... So that powerless thing, I loved it. Because it gave me the opportunity to be like, you know what? This is too much for me. And I'm going to fucking drop this load. I'm going to drop this weight right here and dump this load right here, too. But like, to me, that was freeing, dude. It absolutely... every day I know I'm powerless to everything around me. You know, there's only thing I have control over is me and like what goes on up here. Right. So if the alcohol is an outside thing, it's outside of me. I can't control that. You know?
Yeah. I wasn't expecting to get that reaction from you from the article.
Right.
But I'm glad that I did because it made me think twice and read it, you know, read further into it and kind of do my own research about it. And I would say to anybody listening to us that do your own homework and be skeptical of what I'm saying. Be skeptical of what Jerry's saying here.
Right. Because I'm grouchy. I'm very grouchy.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to apologize. I did not mean to come off as, when you sent it to me, I was like, I read it and was like, fuck this shit. And then like wrote you back this long thing. And then I just want to apologize for being grouchy, because you literally were like, what do you think of this? And I was like, this is bullshit. And I just, afterwards, I'm like, poor John, dude, he's just trying to keep this podcast rolling, and I'm over here being a dick at work because I'm grouchy because I don't want to be at work right now or whatever. But I mean,
no, yeah, I didn't expect that much. I thought, because I kind of had some like, what? That doesn't really, I don't know about that, man. Like, that was my first reaction. It was like, yeah, and I guess I've never gone for things that were cool or trendy or like,
right. It's like, seems dubious. You're like, there's something about this is kind of weird, stinky to me. Like, yeah.
And I've read other things that's felt dubious at first too, but I don't know. Maybe I'll be the spearhead in the Kundalini Disco next year.
Right.
I don't know.
Right. Like, you and I will be first in line for passages at Santa Monica or some shit, like where they just fucking take your money to take you to an AA meeting. You're like, really?
Yeah.
All right.
I don't know.
Yeah.
So that would be my big takeaway, is that I need to continue to be skeptical of everything that I listen to, including myself. Everything that I hear, everything that I read, and spend some time with it and ruminate on it. Because I sent you this article a few days ago, and your first reaction is angry, and of course we're gonna get on and we're gonna hit record, and you're gonna say, well, I really, because I don't think that either of us want to discourage anyone from being curious about anything sobriety related. I wouldn't want for somebody to say, oh, well, these two guys said it's all a bunch of bullshit, and I don't need that.
I've been listening to those two old randos over there. Those two old fucking jerks, like, and they said,
yeah, what they said.
They said I shouldn't be drinking those adaptogens. It's called an adaptogen. It's like something out of the fucking Simpsons. That's like two Simpsons. It's like nootropics and adaptogens is what they put.
We're the Shelbyville adaptogens.
Right, exactly. It's a licorice, gentian root, and caffeine, and nootropics and adaptogens.
Basically, all the spices that they put in gin without the gin.
Word, exactly. And
that, to me, I don't know that I would want to try something that tasted like gin but wasn't gin. That would make me uncomfortable.
Right. Like, why would you drink something that tasted like shit if you're not getting drunk? Do you know what I'm saying? And this is why I don't like O'Doul's and those NA beers, because beer tastes like shit and I'm not getting drunk, and that's fucking useless. Do you know what I'm saying?
I wouldn't want to get used to the flavor in my mouth, or the sitting with a bottle, or I don't know.
This foot medicine is delicious.
Or sipping on something out of a martini glass. It's never like something I like to do when I go out to dinner or something. It's always just water. Usually it's just water or club soda.
I already told you, man. I'm CZ, dude. Coke Zero all day, baby.
How are you doing with that, by the way? Are you
stacking them like a boss, dude? Drinking way too fucking many of them. That's for sure. Yeah, I did. See, once again, this is my pint of ice cream thing right here. Mine is the Coke Zeros. CZ. The CZ, dude. I can't. I went out and bought a half rack, like a 12-pack of it, like 4 or 5 days ago. I still got it, but that's because I was going to this barbecue yesterday, and I bought another 12-pack to take to the barbecue with me, just in case.
You want to make sure you stocked up, man. I don't want to be out.
Exactly. Like,
what if there's somebody else there who's like, because you bring it there as kind of like a gift-ish to share, right? This is your, but you also don't want to share them all.
No. I left a few of them there though, so that's way better than back when I used to drink. When I'd bring a bottle of whiskey over to your house for a party and then take the rest home with me. Be like, yeah, happy housewarming. Anyway, have a good night. Walking out with like the last quarter of the whiskey, like this is mine. Oh no, I just brought my present. Is just sharing this with you. That's my present.
Yeah,
no, I'm not. I don't know. I like drinking them. I probably shouldn't drink as many of them, but
you might figure it out. You might not. You
might not. Yeah.
So speaking of, you were saying that's your ice cream thing, my obsession. One of the other reasons why I get personally a little trepidatious about near beer or gin that's not gin that tastes like gin is because even before we were gonna talk tonight, I was on Instagram specifically looking at low calorie, all natural, like vegan ice cream substitutes, and I just sit there and I watch these videos and I'm like, yeah, okay, pineapple, coconut cream, like how many calories is that? But then I'm always thinking like, well, it says like 1 cup of pineapple, but I should probably make like 5 or 6, so that I have enough. That sort of hoarding mentality that came with the alcoholism.
It's the fucking reward system in your brain, dude. It's wild, dude. Yes, I know what you mean. Well, just like I'm going to this barbecue, I better bring a handful of Coke Zeros with me, Yes, dude. It's wild when you start picking it apart. So how many did you make that pineapple ice cream? Is it just
but I got this other one with like puree? Mint and avocado and then
these are recipes?
These are recipes, yeah.
Link me. I want to check those out. I would love to eat mint avocado ice cream. That sounds like it might be good, actually.
Well, they make one that you can buy commercially, but it's like twice the calories of the Halo Top. So but this stuff is, I'll find it for you. Yeah, I'll.
But see, when I eat the Halo Top, I don't eat the whole pint though. I just eat like that. It tells me to eat half a cup. I eat half the cup, and then I'm like, okay, I'm good. See, I can put it down. I can't
put it down.
I'm ice cream curious, dude. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's mindful ice cream on my end, dude.
So yeah, I mean it's absolutely true. It's different for every single fucking person,
right? Like, but see, dude, I will crack those Coke Zeros and it pops like a beer can. And I'm like, yeah, Daddy's home. Yeah,
it's like that sense visceral, of power, that little like.
Yeah, the visceral like Daddy's home. Mm-hmm. Daddy's home. Mm-hmm. My road sodas are actual sodas. Like, so it's our reward systems. We're gonna figure this out together, dude. Hand in hand, bro. I mean, we're pretty much here. We're like sober married at this point.
Is this? Yeah. My sober husband.
This is my sober husband over there. Oh no, we don't do sex shit. We just talk about our fucking problems on the internet.
Pretty much, so that your wife doesn't have to hear about it.
She'll hear it anyway, but yeah.
No.
She hears like the more calm, serene version after I'm done. Because even after me getting upset about this article, I thought about it and then got on this podcast and I'm like way more accepting of it. I'm like, it is what it is. The kids are gonna do what they do. I'm not gonna buy the shit. I think it's lame, but whatever. Like,
yeah.
Yeah, but it's not my deal. I mean, it's not my deal, so I'm not. I don't want to stop anybody. I'm like, that's whack. I'm not gonna do that.
Yeah.
Maybe karaoke's always fun. I'll do that, and I'll dance. So maybe glow in the dark disco. But all that other Kundalini ice staring or the roulette wheel or whatever. I'm not that shit's whack.
You're not there for casino night.
No, man, whack.
Yeah.
I can gamble at the tattoo shop. I do it all the time.
Yeah. Are you like horse racing?
We play CeeLo.
Oh, okay.
CeeLo and this other one called 24. No, CeeLo's dice.
Dice. Okay. Yeah. Clackety, clack.
Yeah, but I don't really like gambling either. It doesn't set off the reward system in my brain like it does with some people. No, I'm just like, I'm going to lose this money. Or I'm going to win this money maybe. And that's it,
What if there were some Coke Zeros on the line?
Fuck, dude. If you want those, I just pull out a Bowie knife,
Oh man,
is it Bowie knife or Bowie knife?
I think it's Bowie, not like David Bowie, but like it's not a David Bowie knife. I'd love to have a David Bowie knife.
Or is it a Bowie knife? Isn't the other guy's name Isn't his name pronounced Bowie, or is it anyway?
I don't know.
Yeah.
If you know the answer, please.
Yeah, help us out with that because I have this little machine here that I could look at, but I'm not gonna.
Yeah, and if anybody makes knives out there, I could go for a David Bowie knife.
Yeah, with the eye.
Mm-hmm. Well, it could be like a Chinese throwing star because he's a star man.
Oh yeah, and he did that song "My Little China Girl" too, which I don't know if he could even do that song nowadays. It might be a little too much for some people.
He doesn't have to.
That's my hot take on 2019.
Yeah. Yes, he's a sober dude, right? He was. Him and
Bowie?
Him and Iggy Pop got sober together in like Berlin in the 80s or something.
Apparently when he was doing all that Thin White Duke shit, he was just bananas and blow. Like he made that whole album just living off of bananas and Coke. And that's why Ween has that bananas and blow song is because it's, I guess,
it's about David Bowie?
David Bowie, yeah, I guess. Kind of, sort of. The concept is. Because I know you're a big Ween fan.
I am a big Ween fan.
Yeah, I can't remember what. It was Station to Station.
And Aaron Freeman from Ween is another sober dude.
Boom. See? Now we talk about these sober musicians, dude. That idiot from Aerosmith.
Steven Tyler?
Yeah, I don't like him. He's a fucking asshole. But yeah, he's sober.
But yeah, there's actually there's a music festival called Above the Noise that's all sober musicians.
No way. In California, right?
No, it was in like Rhode Island or something last year.
Ah, man.
And this is a cool thing because my girlfriend, who's a musician, she is somebody who she's always like, she'll come home and tell me about like, man, these people were smoking so much weed, and I like the DJ was like he was too drunk and his set was like shit, and like, you know, these different things, and like I just want people who are really into the music. And so I mean, I hope this thing comes through California. I think it might be pretty cool to do this, because that's something. Now, if I look at it that way, that's something that I would be really into, is a music festival. I love music, and if I didn't have to deal with the drugs and alcohol that go along with a music festival, that would be pretty awesome.
Right, like you went to go see Flying Lotus, and those motherfuckers smoked so much weed that you were
left.
Man, I don't want to do this anymore. Yeah.
So
I sit up in the balcony now. If there's a balcony for any live show, I'll just go sit up in the balcony. Yes.
Like, well, we were in an amphitheater, so it was like steep.
Oh yeah, no, I know. I don't have enough money to go to those amphitheater shows, so.
Well, we got the tickets were free. That's what we were doing.
I know.
There. But
they were. Man, my joke didn't even work then. I was gonna tell you were like the 1% of concert goers, but no, I have some money.
You should go see a show sometime.
In my pocket, I got a couple bucks.
I got a couple bucks for some Coke Zeros.
We were gonna go see fucking Mike Doty, but then he flaked out on me. So who's next? I mean, I still love Morrissey, even though he's a right wing weirdo. But
yeah,
I don't know. He already came. Oh no, he's coming through in September. But I probably wouldn't spend money on that. I'm like, I don't know, Morrissey.
I don't know what's up with you.
I love your music, but you as a person, man, you're starting to make me feel uncomfortable. Maybe Cake is coming. We'll go see Cake and Ben. Yeah. Anyway, Cake is coming, actually.
Are they really?
Yeah.
They're playing at probably some brewery festival or something.
I think it's Cake and Ben Folds, I think.
Oh, that could be
I'll have to look it up. Anyway, this is not part of the podcast.
No, it is
If you
not.
people like Cake and Ben Folds, though, God bless you.
So yeah, be skeptical.
Yeah.
Be
Absolutely.
open, I think, is it's a fine line, but I think that's my takeaway from this and speaking with you on this article, and is that I appreciate your I appreciate your reaction to these things, because it makes me think, because I was like, oh, well, I don't know, it sounds kind of corny, but whatever, and you're like, man, fuck that, and then you're like, well, I guess if you're cool with that, and so this podcast is not necessarily even about my opinion or Jerry's opinion. I mean, we're, like Jerry said, we're just figuring this out together. So
right.
We appreciate you listening, and
yeah,
we'll talk to you next time.
Yeah, be good, people. Listen to Steely Dan.
Thanks again for listening. Our music, as always, is by Neglect. You can find more of his stuff at neglect.bandcamp.com.
And you can find us on all social media platforms that matter: Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. And you can reach us at aisforalcoholic@gmail.com.
Talk to you later.